from Maine Snap Ed and Healthy Acadia, and welcome to our fourth and final lesson in our 10 Tips for Healthy Eating series. So today, in our last lesson, we are going to finish learning about our My Plate food groups. So far in our series, we've learned about fruits and vegetables, grains, and today we are going to finish up by talking about protein and a little bit about healthy fats and dairy. So you will want to have your Eating Better on a Budget cookbook to follow along with our recipe demo, as well as your lesson 4 handouts, which start with the Vary Your Protein Routine tip sheet. So grab your materials and let's jump right in. Protein is one of the 5 food groups we learn about on My Plate. And as you can see, it's recommended that about a quarter of the food you eat is a protein-rich food. So protein comes in many forms, including animal-based protein like eggs, chicken, or beef, as well as a lot of plant-based forms like tofu, beans, nuts, and seeds. It's recommended that you eat a quarter of your daily food intake of protein because it's a very important food group for us. Protein increases satiety, helps build muscle, gives you steady energy throughout the day, and also improves your immune function. Something I like to think about as I eat throughout the day is including a source of protein in each meal. So at breakfast, lunch, dinner, and maybe in my snacks throughout the day as well. The key message that I share from Snap Ed is to vary your protein routine. So that means mixing up your protein sources between animal-based sources of protein and plant-based sources of protein. In general, Americans eat a lot more animal-based protein, which is fine, but animal protein can be higher in saturated fats and cholesterol, which we try to limit in our daily food intake. When we think about different sources of protein, something to be aware of is the different types of fats that may be in your protein foods. You can look at your Know Your Fats handout, which is in your 4th lesson packet. And this shows the difference between unsaturated, saturated, and trans fats. So unsaturated fat is considered the healthy fat, and most of the fat you eat should be unsaturated, which comes from sources like olive oil, avocados, peanut butter, nuts and seeds, and fatty fish. All of those foods give you unsaturated fat, which is actually good for your body. It can lower your LDL or bad cholesterol and also give your body the fats that it needs, like omega-3 fatty acids. On the other hand, saturated fats, which are commonly found in animal foods like full-fat beef, cream, butter, or whole milk, saturated fats actually raise your bad cholesterol and can also increase your risk for heart disease and stroke. So we recommend that you limit your saturated fat intake, and one way you can do this is by choosing lean protein or more plant-based proteins. The different types of fats is also something good to keep in mind when you're choosing dairy products, and by choosing a lower fat dairy product, you will help reduce the amount of saturated fat in your eating pattern. So now that we know a little bit about what foods contain protein, why we want to eat protein, and a little bit about the different types of fat, I want to finish up our lesson section by reviewing the Vary Your Protein Routine tip sheet. So as I've said, our key message is to vary your protein choices. So trying to mix up where you get your protein throughout the week will help you get a lot of different vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, and also help limit the saturated fat that can be present in some animal proteins. So looking at your tip sheet, I'll draw your attention to tip number 1, which is to vary your protein food choices. And this is a good one to think about maybe once a week, trying a new source of protein in a breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So maybe trying some beans instead of ground meat, adding nuts or seeds to one of your dishes, just trying new forms of protein to really switch up the profile of vitamins and minerals that you're getting throughout your day and week. Another good tip is tip number 3, select lean meat and poultry. So this tip is meant to help you cut down on that saturated fat that can sometimes be present in meats or in chicken. And all you have to do to select a leaner cut of meat is looking at the label and choosing the one that has the highest percentage lean and the lowest percentage fat. And the last tip I'm going to highlight is tip number 5, which is to eat plant protein foods more often. So one cool thing about plants is that they cannot produce cholesterol. So any type of plant protein, such as beans, tofu, nuts, or seeds, will always be free of cholesterol, and typically plant proteins are lower in saturated fat than animal proteins. So trying to mix up your protein choice can really help cut down on saturated fat and help you mix up your food choices, get some new foods, new tastes to enjoy and experiment with. So as I've said, it's important to include sources of protein throughout your day of eating. So for our final recipe demo, I wanted to show you how to make a spinach black bean salad, and this is on page 18 in your cookbook. And this is a great example of a salad that you can add other ingredients to make it more satisfying and more nutritious. So you can join me in the kitchen and we're gonna learn how to make a quick vinaigrette dressing and put together a tasty protein-packed salad using beans as our protein source. For this recipe, you'll need some type of vinegar, oil, mustard, garlic powder, oregano, basil, greens. I'm using arugula, but you could also use spinach, a can of unsalted black beans, 2 tomatoes or 1 can of diced tomatoes drained, and 1 small red onion. You'll also need a can opener, a knife, some measuring spoons, and a big bowl. We start this salad recipe by making our vinaigrette salad dressing in the bottom of the bowl our salad will go in. First, I add 2 tablespoons of vinegar to the bowl. I'm using balsamic, but use whatever you have. Then add 1 tablespoon vegetable oil, 1 tablespoon mustard, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, ½ teaspoon dried oregano, ½ teaspoon dried basil, and you're all set. You can whisk all those ingredients together with a fork, and voila! You just made your own salad dressing. Now, grab your greens, add them to a colander, and rinse them under running water before adding them to your salad bowl. Now it's time to open your can of beans and add them to the colander. Rinse the beans under running water, shake them dry, and add your beans to your salad bowl. The last step in this recipe is chopping all the fresh produce you're going to add to your salad. I have a tomato and a red onion to chop and add to my salad, but you can get creative and use whatever fruits and veggies you have on hand. Everything is prepped and in the bowl, So the last thing to do is mix it all up, making sure you spread the dressing in the bottom of the bowl evenly among all the veggies. Yum! Check out that healthy and filling salad. All right, so I hope that demonstration showed you how easy it is both to make your own salad dressing at home and to add different sources of protein to your meals throughout the day. So you can really up the nutrients in just a simple salad just by adding some beans or seeds and nuts and getting some of that protein in with your fruits and vegetables. Thank you so much for joining me for this 4-part pre-recorded series. I hope you learned a little bit about the different food groups, some easy recipes, and new ways to add more nutrients and especially fresh fruits and vegetables into your eating pattern. So thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this series, you could subscribe to the Healthy Acadia newsletter or keep tabs on our website for more upcoming classes, many of which will be in person this coming year. So thank you again. You have my email address, so please reach out if you have questions or need more resources. And I hope to teach and learn with you again soon. Thanks, everyone.